better.
So I'm going to go to our next topic. And I'm going to switch it up on you, actually. This is perfect, too, because if you guys are listening to the MP3 and listening to this YouTube, you're hearing gunshots in the back behind Rocco's head there. And as of the date of this recording recently, we've witnessed yet again another tragic school shooting, which, as always, when we see these shootings, brings up the question of gun control and guns in America. And I'll start off by saying this is very controversial, and I'm going to do my best to be objective because I know that I lean towards a certain way. But the goal of this topic is not necessarily to cram down our ideals to who's listening, but to have an open discussion about the pros and cons of what is going on and what we could do, and to kind of talk about both sides and do our best to be objective, right? So, gun control, guns, maybe not guns control in particular, but the shooting issue in America, and in particular, the fact that it's being targeted and done within school systems. What are you guys' thoughts on that? What is your approach to potentially solve this issue?
Just on gun control in general, or just in?
I don't want to harp on gun control, and I apologize for using that word. I want to harp on shooting.
Yeah,
like shootings
trying to
in school. Because gun control has a lot that immediately makes people think, oh, that means no guns, right?
You're gonna take guns away.
Yeah, I don't want to necessarily harp on that, but I do want to harp on the fact that we have shootings, and they happen in schools, and I want to talk about how we could solve that. And what your thoughts?
Well,
are.
I mean, the thing is like you can. I mean, in school, you can have those checks and everything that go on a thing, but the thing is schools don't like to do those checks because then it makes it look like it's an unsafe school to go to, no matter where you go. Even if it's like Harvard or something like that, you have somebody checking people out every time they go in there. But go ahead, Rockstar.
Now, this is a he said, she said kind of thing that I've heard the same kind of thing you were talking about, like checks. Like they're going to, you walk into the school and they're going to pat you down kind of deal to kind of find out if you have any type of weapon or whatnot. I think I agree with you, Steve. That's ridiculous. There's a simple solution to that, though. Make every school entrance or whatever exit, whatever it is that you get into that school, make there be a metal detector if you can, something where they're going to be walking through.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like people,
though.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Can we afford that?
But is it? I don't know. So like, this whole situation is based out of fear, right? We're going to be making choices out of fear because of fear of children being gunned down in schools. I think if you're going to be making it a fear, yes, I think that it'd be worth it. I think it wouldn't be worth
fear. It's a reality.
No,
it's the reality that these are talking about, and it's fear. Like it makes people fearful, but
right. I
don't think it's reaction. I don't think it's like irrationally.
I don't think it's irrational either. I think though, I don't know. I mean, I think that maybe it's worth that then. Maybe it's worth it to spend a few $1,000s to be able to make sure that you're gonna try to eliminate the best of your ability without having cops at every corner.
Yeah, because honestly, some of these colleges they make a ton of money. So
absolutely,
they can do that.
But I mean, we're talking about installation costs.
So I don't have.
I don't know if it's realistic.
And I don't have TV. What school shooting are you guys referring to?
It's about in Arizona. It just happened.
It was in Oregon.
Oregon?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oregon.
well, there was one in just Arizona then. Or was that the one that just happened this
It just happened where Obama visited the families recently.
Oh, so it was Oregon. My bad. I thought it was Arizona.
Yeah.
It was in Oregon Community College.
Okay.
Well, I mean, really, there's no like one solution to this. Okay.
No.
I mean,
and this is fascinating because you guys are from you guys are all in the South, and so I feel like you have a certain point of view that I really want to acknowledge and appreciate. But sorry, go ahead, Ian.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, I like me personally, I have guns, so to me, it's home protection. If you just ban guns throughout the country, that criminals are going to still have guns.
Right.
So
I would like to.
Go ahead.
I wanted to pick at that for a second because when these conversations come up, unfortunately, only after something like a shooting happens, we start talking about solutions, and immediately people start freaking out and go, "You're not taking my guns away."
No, of course.
Even when we talk about regulation on guns, about making it harder to get a gun, people are like, "No, you're not taking my guns away." It's like, whoa, hold on. Nobody's saying taking your guns away. we're gonna just make it harder to get guns. I mean, and they're like. I've been seeing this this image pop around about how it's harder to get a license for a car than it is for a gun, and that I feel speaks volumes about the regulations that we have. Like, how is a gun? The amount of responsibility that you need for a gun is far greater than a car, in my opinion.
I agree with you. And
Why is it not? You know what I mean?
No, and regulations is perfectly fine with me, because I mean, a person that should have a gun could pass those regulations, whatever the criteria is to get a gun. So I fully agree. And when these situations do come up, depending on if it's a child or an adult, I mean, I agree with Rocco sitting there stating, in schools, if we're talking about schools in general, you got to have that checkpoint from walking in, because that's where you're going to have to stop it, is it getting actually inside. Now, okay, so we run into a cost issue. So are we putting a price tag on all of those children's head, saying, oh, hey, well, if it costs this much, it's not worth it, So that's where I think, okay, then you have you hire two people that do like a morning and an afternoon, so when people come in and leave, making sure that there's no weapons, and you have almost just like getting on an airplane. You come in, you put your book bag in, goes through the thing, they check everything. So,
but how do you so an airplane, a building has very distinct entrances and exits. How does two people cover a campus, an open campus on college?
I mean, I was just making an example, but like I'm going off of my middle school here. Rocco went to the same middle school as me. There was actually like a fence all the way around. There was only really two entrances in. Granted, it looked open, but there was only two ways to
now
get in.
This obviously is not going to be able to apply to an open campus,
or a lot of schools in that.
Well,
like Columbine wasn't
they're gonna have
either.
then they're going to have to game plan that. Think of a way. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is at that point.
I mean, there's so many ways you can go with it. Like you're saying, like you can make it harder to get a gun and everything like that. But ultimately, it just comes down to people. Like Columbine, it was open campus. I mean, I can see like if they had a fenced in place, or even if they had metal detectors, those guys walked in like when everyone was in class, just walked in. Two kids just walked in with armed to the teeth with guns and stuff like that. So it's like, I mean, nothing could have stopped that. Even if you had one extra security on duty, one guy. I mean, you hear about that all the time, but you don't hear about the people that actually own guns. Like the one teacher, I think it was in Colorado, he had a gun, right? A guy came in on the campus. He had I think a 6-shooter or something like that, or something. He had a bunch of guns, but the teacher had a gun and actually took out the kid before he started killing anybody like that. Right. He started opening fire. Didn't happen to shoot anybody, but killed the kid. But you don't hear about that because that's not what the media wants you to hear about, is someone stopping someone with their own gun. You know what I mean?
Or in the movie theaters when they're firing off and the other person fires.
Right, and that's another thing too.
To save other individuals.
They're doing checks now. Like I'm going to the movies now. They're doing bag checks now. That sucks because you can't sneak food in. But I mean, what would you rather have? You know what I mean?
Right,
guns.
Right. Of course.
Like, I liked it. It made me feel safer that they're checking bags and everything like that. But there's still, if they want to get in there, they'll get in there no matter what. You know what I mean?
So I think gun regulation. Like a more strict. Yes, absolutely. I agree with that too. There needs to be deeper gun regulations that need, do whatever we got to do to make it a little bit difficult. At least it should be more difficult than really getting your driver's license. To get a weapon that can take somebody's life, and even though a car can too.
But like, you have to wait, like you just have to fill out like a form and then wait 3 weeks. Is that it or something like that? No, that's what I heard, right?
3 days.
Three days? I thought it was 3 weeks. Okay. Dang,
no, and like Oregon, and it's state regulated. Like so, Oregon had no assault rifle, like bans or whatever like that. They had you didn't need a license or something like that. You didn't need a gun license. Like it was open, like it was so free willing. And I understand the argument that a car can take out someone too, but you can't put your car in your backpack into a movie theater. I'm sorry. No. You can't do that, okay? Yeah. And you also can't ram, 50 people as easily as you can with a fucking assault rifle. You just can't.
No,
and
I agree.
they're like, well, you know what? You could take a knife in. It's like, yeah, you could probably stab 2 people, but can you kill 50 children? No. Okay, so let's kind of put this in perspective and really look at like what a gun is compared to other like weapons.
Right.
So, okay. I think that, we're looking at methods of like reactions instead of like attacking the source, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we need to create better mental health facilities across the United States to help every individual to see where they're at, mentally, and to help the economy as a whole go up, higher. Because if you have mental health facilities placed all over where everybody's attending, that means that even the individuals that aren't, say, going to go on a murdering spree, but are individuals that are just not contributing to society and, maybe helping them get to somewhere where they are. I think the core or the source is attacking the source. That all these individuals that are doing these attacks and these school shootings, they have some screw loose upstairs. They're not Joe Schmo who's just like, yeah, I feel great. I'm always great. Things are good in life, and I just feel like killing people today. It doesn't happen like that. So they got something loose upstairs. They're either one taking some type of pharmaceutical drugs that's altering their even emotions,
chemical balance,
their chemical balance. So this is important, guys, because like some people will be like, oh, you can blame it on a pharmaceutical. You can too, in a way, because if you take certain pharmaceuticals that suppress your emotions, you become very cold. You become very uncompassionate, where things like killing somebody seems rational to you, and it doesn't. You don't have an emotion to tell you it's not. To tell you, hey, you should feel bad about that idea or anxiety about that idea. They're like, I feel like that's fine.
Take it from me too, because like I work in a pharmacy and I've seen people that were completely normal and they're on certain medication, and I just see them deteriorate over time. And like it could be for anything from them being irritable and getting more meaner, or from just nothing on their face at all, no expression, just like blankness.
Exactly.
Don't even know how to use a keypad machine, half the time. Because
it's so true.
Like, it just deteriorate, and I'm just like, wow, you remember so and so like at the beginning, and they're like, yeah. It was like, her now, like she's just gone, like completely gone. There's nothing there anymore. So it's like, I absolutely agree with you as far as the pharmaceutical point. Like you can blame some of that stuff because they do testing, but it's not like years and years of testing before they come out with some of the stuff.
There was independent articles on a lot of these school shooters, and that they were on pharmaceutical drugs that alter your emotions or alter your mind in some way. Like almost every one of them was. Now this wasn't being publicized in mainstream media because the pharmaceutical industry is $1 trillion industry. You don't think that they want that to be out there, right?
All they do is
so
just
like
pay a big
first
check.
off, exactly. So like one, I think that's a big deal. One, like we need to have a really good understanding too as well, Clay, an unbiased perspective where it's not just leaning towards, you're only seeing the situations where the guns are being used in a bad setting, but you're also seeing them with the teacher, the regular civilian that used their gun to stop a movie shooting, to anything in any situation where the gun's being used in a positive light. That is one thing I think needs to happen. It needs to stop being so biased. There needs to be a level playing field, at least, journalists without an agenda. Mm-hmm. Two, I think there needs to be a mental health, a better mental health,
absolutely agree with
whatever you want to call it, like program put into place nationwide to help.
There's psychiatrists that know and hear these guys talk about they want to kill stuff, and it's like it's a catch-22 because they can't tell anybody, but it's like okay, we need to come at it from a different angle.
I think that there needs to be better gun regulation. There does. It needs to be more difficult, for individuals to be able to get a weapon on their hands because, we don't need people on pharmaceuticals or any other states that you would think would be a normal person, and then all of a sudden they flip their shit and they've got a gun on their hands. Because
what about a psych test before you get a gun?
Well, that's what I think too. So there should definitely be something involved where it's like, I need to know if you ever had the tendencies of being a murderer. What kind of prescription drugs are you on too at the same time? Like, what are you, what's going on here? And now a lot of these situations, not all of them, but some of them are involved where they are children that have taken their parents' weapons. You know what I mean? So it's like another one of those situations. Who knows there if it could still be played out. But one other thing too, Clay, is that there is, I know that it seems like you're not, but there is a lot of other individuals that want to take away all of gun control. I mean,
they look at Australia. They're just ban all guns.
Look, look at Australia too as well, where crime rates have gone up, petty crimes have gone up, burglaries, in-house burglaries have gone up because now these criminals know that none of these individuals are walking around with their guns. You know what I mean? Like, they know that can break into your house. Elderly people's homes are being broken into more often now in Australia than they ever have been before, because they're more likely to be armed.
Is that causation or correlation? I'm hearing this, but I don't know if it's actually a result of banning guns at the same time.
I think it could possibly be. If I'm going to put myself in the mindset of a criminal, and I still have my weapon, because I'm clearly not going to go turn mine in on I'm not going to be the citizen that's like, let's go be lawful and go out here and go give you my gun. And I've got my guns, and I know that all these individuals just dropped theirs out, threw them on there, gave them up to the government, did what they want to do. I know now I have easy pickings if I want, because the only people walking around with any type of weapons are now going to be the military or the police. And if I can avoid them, then I'm not going to have some gun shootout, and I'm more likely going to be able to take most of these individuals, for granted. Whether it be house, burglaries, whether it be just on the road walking by, I can now pull out a gun. You don't got a gun. I know you're not going to have a gun. And I'm like, give me your money. And I'm out. If I'm a criminal, I'm sure as hell going to do more crimes now, because there's less the only thing that would have probably held me back would be the possibility of the opposing person having a gun and blasting me first. That'd be the only that would maybe I'm not going to go in the house. Now
I'm not advocating gun ban.
No, I know that you're not. I'm just saying, though, that there is a lot of individuals that are doing that. Now, I'm not advocating that either.
What I do lean towards is the fact, why does someone need a military grade rifle?
I agree with you there.
Why do we need assault rifle?
I think that is a little bit okay, so there's a lot of individuals that are going to say, there's a lot of individuals that are going to say, the Second Amendment is put into place because of, tyrannical governments getting out of play, and then being able to stand up for yourselves to be able to defend your rights or your country and whatever it is that you have to do. So looking at where the military status is with their weaponry, it doesn't matter if you have an assault rifle or not, there would be, you wouldn't be able to stand up against it. But still,
you wouldn't have a tank.
I get the understanding of some of these individuals where they say, okay, the assault rifle is right for that situation because it's going to be the only thing that can kind of get me to be able to last in this situation. Now,
I wish,
I don't agree with this, but I'm just saying that I know that there's individuals that would have that perspective out there. I think, though, that the weapons that are being used in school shootings do tend to be the assault rifles, do tend to be the automatic rifles that are able to do a lot of mass killings very fast, and that's not a hunting weapon,
I wish I should have known we would have done this we were doing this beforehand, because I got a friend who actually collects a lot of guns, and he has a lot of assault rifles, and he has shotguns and all this other stuff, and he's very against the gun regulation and stuff like that, and he feels really strongly about this, and he has a lot. I've heard him ramble on and rant. I'm not ramble, but just rant on as far as the whole gun control policy. And I wish we could have him on here, because he has assault rifles, and he's just a gun collector. I mean, he likes going out and shooting them. I mean, it's a passion for some people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
He could probably explain it more why you would need that, or why you would want that. You know what I mean? Because we don't understand that, because we don't have assault rifle. I don't know if you do, Ian.
You don't have a passion for
No,
it.
I don't.
Right.
But
You don't have a huge passion for it, like he does. You know what I mean? Like, he had an AK. I shot an AK. It was fun. It was fun to shoot an AK.
Yeah. But I mean, couldn't you? I don't know.
So that's going on that point though. Going on that point with Steve-O too is this. My father-in-law, he owns a lot of weapons, a lot of guns. He's got an assault rifle too as well. Now, he's not mentally unstable. He's not the guy that's going to be going in there with his assault rifle doing crazy things. He does have that weapon because he enjoys weapons. He loves weapons. Right. He's passionate about it. Now, he'll go out there. I don't even know if he shoots it often, but if he's going to be going somewhere where it's safe and secure to go do it. He's a gun owner who's extremely responsible with his weapons. There's not situations where he's ever being irresponsible with them. And he's a hunter too. He likes to go out and he likes to go hunting. And it's one of those things that's something that gives him a lot of excitement and passion in life, and it's not where it's being used in the wrong way. Now, that's that part where that regulation comes into play. So the assault rifle, maybe you can't go hunting with it, he loves it. He enjoys it. I see where he's got the passion. Do I still?
So he collects it. That's the only. Like, it's just to shoot
it's
it.
kind of a collector / go shoot at a range or something if he wants
You know
to.
how like
with
a
it, you know?
boat has to sit at a dock? Can't your AK sit at a firing range? And then when you want to use it, you go in there and shoot in a regulated area.
Maybe
can't
that's
bring it out.
You know, that's. I think for some people they're gonna feel like that's a violation of their their. I don't know. I kind of like that idea, Clay, but I'm going to say that I see that other individuals might see that as being like, that's my boat. I want it to sit outside my house and not on that dock if I don't have to. You know, like you're making me do that is a different story than I feel like I want to do that. Like if you give people that option to do that, you know, and you say you get tax breaks or something that gives them some type of benefit in some way or another.
Yeah. That would be great, right? Stuff
you're
like that.
Forced to have to do it, you know, like
absolutely.
That's going to make people resistant, and that's going to make them think that you're leaning more towards the idea of you're taking away my guns. Now, if I have to have that situation, the assault rifle, tyrannical government comes across, you've got my shit. You know, you got everybody's shit. That's the point of me having it. Or I have it only for that reason and that reason only. I have it for the collection, and I like to touch it and play with it. You know.
And the other thing people really like, I feel like there's always just this black or white. It's the people with guns, which that's all I hear. I never hear of like what we need to do to like stop people from having guns. It's just no, people with guns kill guns, and we need to leave it at that. Or it's we need to take all away the guns. But I really believe it's a combination of stronger, more responsible regulation of guns, a better psychology, and gut check into our pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah.
And a better security system for the public stuff. So like we talked about all these little things, and a lot of time people get hung up. It's like, well, let's put the fence and the metal detector. No, that's not enough. It's like, well, okay, it might not be enough on its own, but this combined with that, combined with this, is guaranteed to see a lesser degree of gun shooting.
Are there any other countries out there that have gun control, like besides like what you're
Australia?
Saying? Well, I'm not saying, but taking away all the guns, though. Like, I'm just saying, did they have, like, anything that we're talking about now, like, hard to get guns and everything?
I was going to
like,
say, I'm unaware of that, too.
Because if there is, then why would we just indoctrinate that way? You know,
I understand that it's a little bit inconvenient, but I don't understand why someone would just want to get the gun inspected every year. It's like it's inconvenient, but just like it is inconvenient to take your shoes off going into a metal detector.
Well, maybe it's not an every year thing though. Maybe it's like you go to renew your driver's license, right? You do that every 4 or 8 years, depending on how you apply.
Like so, but your car has to get inspected every year. So
only
for the what do you call
does.
It? Only for what do you your exhaust kind of deal. You're saying right?
Yeah,
that's the only thing. That's the only thing that happens with the car inspections.
Got a lot of converters
here in
Georgia.
Georgia.
Because the exhaust has a chance to kill a lot of people if it's unchecked. So why don't you get a psych test every year or something like that? A quick little like, how you doing? Did you get fired? Did you lose your job? No. Are you on any medication? No. Blah blah blah. Boom.
I feel the same thing with.
Did your wife cheat on?
And
something like that. Just like get a little bit into the person. Like no, okay, cool.
I was gonna say I feel the same way about older people with driver's license. I mean, I see some people drive the thing, and they're like, one lady, she's like signed her thing. She's like, I can't. I'm legally blind, right?
Yeah, it's like, get this license out of this woman's
hands. Why are you driving right now? Should I call somebody? Yeah, exactly. Like, I've literally had somebody say that. Just say, I'm legally blind, or you know that, right? Just like, and they sign like underneath the friggin' part they're supposed to sign. So I think that they should absolutely get like retested when you get a certain age or something like that. Like, or every time you go to get a driver's license, you have to like do the eye test or do the driving test or something again.
No, so I guess trying to take guns away.
I guess on this point, like we should do it like you were saying, like it's not a black and white situation, Clay. We got to learn from my son here, okay? I told him this one the other day. I said, "Yo, son, things are not black and white." He's like, I go, "Things aren't just black and white. There's shades of gray, son." And he goes, "Yeah, also blue, green, orange. It's the same situation. We got to kind of not. It's not just like, hey, you take them all away, or hey, you do this. There's got to be." There's not one solution to that problem. There's multiple solutions that have to be in play at the same time for actually to be successful in that I guess change.
I definitely agree that there should be some revamp of the whole system. And definitely, being a gun owner.
I was going to say, being a gun owner, do you think it was difficult? Do you think it should be harder for individuals to?
Quite honestly, yes. Yes, because my wife bought it for me, and literally on Christmas, 2 days after Christmas, we drove over there, and I just signed a piece of paper and got my gun.
Wow.
And think about it. Like, if you are mentally unstable and you're like, okay, I'm going to shoot people. Step one, get a gun. It's like, well, you got to go through all these hoops. that's gonna weed out. Like, I'm not saying this is gonna solve it, but it's gonna weed out some of these lazy psychos who are like, nah, it's too much trouble. I'm just not gonna do it, right?
Yeah.
Like, they just might not go through that then if they have to jump through hoops. So the people who are responsible and really want to have these guns, like the people who really deserve to use these guns, like unfortunately a lot of these people who are advocating no gun control, they actually are the ones that deserve the guns. They'll be the ones that have them. And what we're saying is that those that are lazy and psychotic will not have the guns.
And the whole thing too about with money, like you guys saying that it costs money to do all this and everything. But the thing is like it all comes down to our government too, because like I've seen like, you know, there's been like reports in the paper saying that like, you know, we've used like $500,000 to replace like, I don't know, like light bulbs in the lights or something like that for like the entire county or something. I mean, like some of that stuff can be used for other stuff too. You know what I mean? Instead of just like, I wouldn't say that's stupid, but like other stuff like
this goes back down to when we were talking about should weed be legal. Look at all the money they're spending on like cracking down on cops' time to like spend on that and like tax dollars to keep people in the jail and to write all those reports for them spending overtime because they caught a bunch of stuff. You take that out, you make weed legal, you get a lot more money now in the federal system. Boom, put that right into protecting our children that are going to school every day. They deserve to be able to go to a movie theater and watch a fucking film without feeling scared.
We figured it out, guys.
Yeah, and not only that, if
Maelstrom gamers for president,
that people wouldn't want to go out and go shooting. Too stoned.
Yeah, exactly. They'd be more docile.
Like I don't want to shoot anybody, man.
Nah, man.
All right, guys.
Pizza, man.
Thank you for entertaining me with that topic because